This guy's supposed to be a genie. Wish I was a genie. What would I give? You know, you'd be surprised, for all you journalers out there, the ones who already know the blessings the journal can bring, or the ones who are just finding out about it. There's a really neat exercise you can do. I wouldn't do it more than about maybe once a year, every other year, heck, every 3 years, something like that. I used to pretend I had received $1 million. And what would I do with it? That was half of the exercise. And I would really ponder this in my heart. And I would search deeply. And, what we would do with supply like that tells you a lot about yourself. You'd be surprised. And so I would search in heart and come up with my answers and write them in my journal. And then the other little exercise I would do is I would pretend I was given 3 wishes, and they could be for anything except unlimited wishes, no nonsense like that. And they could be for me, or they could be for the world, or they could be, unlimited that way. And so I would search in my heart of hearts for, if I really, really had the ability to have 3 wishes that would bring blessings, what would those blessings be? And when we're young, of course, we want the Ferrari and, the big bucks in the bank and that kind of thing. And that's fine. If that's what you want, that's what you want. Although I'm guessing if you're hanging out on my channel or watching my videos that you're beyond that. You've worked your way through at least the better part of that kind of thing. If anyone thinks money brings happiness, center in your heart and turn on the tube and look into the eyes of the truly wealthy, the rich and powerful, and I challenge you to find any happiness there. You won't find it. Money and joy and happiness do not positively correlate up or down. So, and frankly, while I'm on this little tear, I'll share with you that I'm actually happy that I wasn't born with the proverbial silver spoon in my mouth. Because when I look at those people, and we're energy beings now, and I want you sensing your own sensings. As you're in heart, you get readings on people. Whether you see them on the television, in the store, on a video, or even authors in a book, you get readings on people. And you just know things. Your heart knows things, and you can tap into that. There's no reason not to. These are natural sensings that it's not that they're taken away from us, but we distance ourselves from this kind of sensing by being in the mind so much. And that's, of course, how we've been trained. Boy, I have a strange head on this little thing, don't I? I mean, you talk about a square head. Anyway, obviously he's, let's call him an ED, not an ET, extra dimensional. All right, so, and also doing these exercises today, I'd still go for the 3 wishes, only $1 million is chump change, so I would go for $1 billion. And just spend the time that it takes. It's a nice meditation, and it's something you can teach your children to do. And if you have your children do this, you will learn a lot about them, and they will learn a lot about themselves. That's the kind of thing that happens when you do this. Kismet, you stay in here. Good dog. That's the kind of thing that happens. Journaling is magic anyway, But one of the biggest things that surprises us, you know, we get used to being ourself, and we don't often see our own progress and growth. We don't really notice it. It happens incrementally. But if you're a journaler, you've got a leg up on that, and it will totally amaze you as you go through the years if you'll do this periodically. When you look back at those old journals and you see the things that after searching your heart you wrote down were most important to you, you're going to say, oh my God, was I really that? Was I really that shallow? You know, we make massive amounts of growth, largely unaware of it. Um, I journaled a lot. Um, well, I didn't call it journaling. I wrote letters to God when I was a young girl. That's what I would do. I didn't really have any close friends, anybody to talk to. Parents were in the military. We moved a lot. Never really plugged in socially. And so I didn't have anybody to share with. My parents didn't talk to the kids. It just, you know, they just wasn't done. They weren't mean or anything. They just, you know, didn't enter their head to have a conversation with us about anything except, you know, brush your teeth, do your homework, that kind of thing. So I would just, you know, start out with binder paper and dear God is how I would do it. And I would just start writing and writing and writing and just pour myself out. And that's how I learned to journal. Um, but it was just letters to God. I wish I'd kept them. I didn't, in all the moving and so on. You know, I don't have those anymore. But journaling is a precious habit. And even though there's no such thing as objectivity, you know, we've been talking about the observation problem recently, or the observation effect. So there's not, you can't really be objective anymore. There's no such thing as an object because subject and object are somehow one. Still, by having the journals to go back to, it's a little bit like an objective view of who and what and where you were at that time. And you'd be surprised how these two ultra simple little exercises will reveal a whole interior world to you. There's some kind of magic in writing, and I don't understand it. It would be nice to understand, but I really don't need to. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You don't need to understand something to take advantage of it. You don't need to be a mechanic to turn the key in the ignition and drive the car. Okay, so understanding is often highly overrated, and that's because we're a society based on and that lives in mind. And mind to mind understanding is the ultimate. And but you and I are discovering that that's not the highest way. That's a good way, it's a powerful way, it has a lot to offer, but it's not taking us where we're going. It's not taking us into transcendence. And that's where we're headed. Now, I got off on so many things there. It seemed like I had some concept of why I was coming to the journal this time. Maybe I don't. Maybe that's it. I guess I'll share with you, I've been feeling a little, I can't seem to get my balance somehow. I've worked through some pretty deep emotional stuff, and that's good, through several layers of that. So it's not that. I just, you know, just can't seem to find an even keel. Um, I don't know. I don't know. This is the Nutricina started with one dog, and I had kind of expected it to be smoother than what it's turning out to be. Let me check. I think it's only maybe the third. Yeah, it's only the third day of it. but I haven't had a really good, well-balanced day yet. Sometimes I'm really high and happy and joyful, and I can't seem to find the right things to eat because so often after I eat it just knocks me out and I have to sleep, and I consider that a waste of several hours. And you know, obviously I need to look at that. That's not a good attitude. But whatever, I'm not perfect, friends. And remember, the work I'm doing is on integrating the shadow. Oh my God, wait until I record some of the most recent written journals for you. Uh, in perhaps the most recent one, it boots Goody Two Shoes right out the door. And it was really interesting coming through. The energies are just different, and they're more powerful. But I'm also finding myself somewhat scattered. So I don't know. I don't know. I hope there's been some value here. I sure love you guys. I love being able to share like this. And I also take great joy in seeing and hearing more of you either starting to do your own videos or at least contemplating it. I hope that there are numbers of you out there that are starting to do a little bit of writing, a little bit of journaling, even if it's just basic ideas, even if it's in outline form, just sketched out notes, you know, anything will lock it down for you, because what happens is when you get an illumination or an idea or something, as you write it down, what goes along with the writing is the energy of it. And so you don't have to write everything out all the way in order to leave enough there on the paper for you to tune in later to what that was about, what you were meaning. You might even be able to come and flesh it out better later if you'll just jot down your inspirations, your ideas, the new thoughts or the new perspectives, the new ways of looking at things. These things can be fragile, and we can do ourselves a great favor by at least jotting down a line or two about something, like a special dream. You know, when you've had a dream that's special, that means something. And even if you don't have time in the now or much understanding to interpret your dream, it's still a really good idea to write it down. You know, I